Welcome back. Well, welcome. Anyways, today I want to, or in this little video segment, I want to cover a topic that is a lot more applicable and can be either constructive or destructive that we deal with on a constant daily basis, but sometimes we don't realize. If you've known me for more than 5-10 minutes, you know that I love psychology and I love how emotions play a role in our life and how they balance us, and the amygdala and the hypothalamus and all that wonderful stuff. But there's a theory, a very valid philosophy in psychology, and it's called confirmation bias. Now, so that way I don't misinterpret, that way I don't misquote it, I pulled it up and I'm going to read it. Confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing belief or theory. Confirmation bias impacts how we gather information, but they also influence how we interpret and recall information. For example, people who support or oppose a particular issue will not only seek out information to support it, but they will interpret news stories in a way that upholds their existing ideas. Now, the discretion we should always look at and try to understand about confirmation bias is it can be easily used to discredit viable facts, things that would obviously oppose what we believe or what we think about. And if someone using those facts we can easily discredit them. Oh, that's just confirmation bias. They're just using that fact to their advantage. And it's very, very true. And like I said, it's very applicable. We use it every day. However, there are many instances when there is a valid, viable fact that confirms something we already believe. And it's not because of confirmation bias, it's because the facts are there. What we should be looking for, and it's a lot harder than we think, is true, uncut facts, because facts don't lie. However, facts can be twisted, turned, flipped upside down, and then interpreted through our minds to validate us. So this video is not necessarily about anything specific. Well, it is, but not in a way that some people may think it is. It's actually about negative confirmation bias. Whenever we think someone doesn't like us, or we think people are talking about us, or we think this might happen, a bunch of bad things might happen. There's a religion out there. They have what's called the law of attraction. They, whatever you think is going to come to you, and some very, very some validity to that. But the point of this video is not to contradict confirmation bias, but it's to understand how it can work against us in many ways. Whenever I see something, I try to look at the context that it was said in, the situation, the emotional state of the individual. I try to really measure what the facts are saying. It's not easy, and I mess it up quite a bit, but the reason why I do this is because I understand confirmation could be either affirming me or contradicting what I'm saying. And me growing up with a very low self-esteem and constantly feeling like I'm belittled, it's very easy for me to take on negative stimuli and to be triggered by certain things. Like, oh, did I text that wrong? Like, why aren't they answering me? Oh no, did I make them mad? Did I offend them? Oh no, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go down this spiral where I will deconstruct everything based upon a similarity between a past experience and something that just occurred. I'm careful using this term, but the way my vision is, the way my worldview is that PTSD, there's some PTSD factors that play into confirmation bias. Now, when I say PTSD factors, what I mean basically is things that have hurt us in the past, and certain sensors like the way touching, hearing, tasting, smelling, all these things are revolved around this PTSD event. So whenever we have something that distracts us, hurts us, or anything, our mind like encloses all of the senses around it. So it like makes this mental note. Okay, now we know what to do from now on. If this ever happens again, we got to guard ourselves. When confirmation bias is in act, those triggers, very, very similar triggers, are enacted. And so the way someone looks at us, they're mad at me. Oh no, what am I going to do? What did I do wrong now? Like, oh, they don't like me. They must be plotting against me. And it's only because you saw them whispering, and in a previous event where someone was talking about you, they were whispering too. And they were looking at you and laughing. The reason why it's vital, not important, it's vital to understand confirmation bias is for us to look at situations that oppose us or even affirm us and try to understand what factors are at play. Because I used to have a very, very low self-esteem. Sometimes I battled, but used to, if I text somebody and they didn't text back within a reasonable amount of time, I thought I did something wrong. If someone gave me a look, I would like cower down thinking I disappointed them or I'd messed up. And what I'm learning to do, what I'm teaching my concept and my perception is that maybe that's not what's going on. Or I don't have control over it. So I'm not going to spend all my energy worrying about it. When we understand this, it can actually start removing particles of those factors that would deconstruct what we believe in, or even affirm what we believe in, because we're trying to be unbiased. Most people, including myself, are not as unbiased as they think they are. They're not as objective. They're very subjective. We don't view the world as it is. We view it how we see it. What I like to do is I like to challenge myself. I like to look at it from another person's perspective. Maybe the way they were raised, maybe their culture, maybe what they read, what they've watched, what they've seen, anything like that, and try to say, okay, if I was in their shoes, would I see it this way? Okay, now let's take my personal view on it, my emotions out of it, and let me see how I would feel about it without this previous event confirming or denying me. So then what I do is I start looking at the factors in and of themselves. And what that does is that helps me to get outside my box and look at things objectively. It's not easy. Again, I still struggle with this. But it helps me to understand a situation as it is without my confirmation bias. And sometimes it makes me feel really good. I'm like, okay, all these facts line up and they make me feel better that what I believe is right. And also, sometimes I'm like, okay, that goes against what I believe, but I see its validity. And so now I need to change something about my perception so that way I can adapt this and I can make it a part of me so I can become better. Like anybody who wants to be a better person is going to face these challenges of things that contradict personal set beliefs by how we were raised, what we read, the people we hung out with. And so the next time you feel something deteriorate inside, you feel like some people are talking about you, something bad's about to happen, take a step back and evaluate some of the factors without considering previous events and say, okay, is this something that falls into that same belief, or is this an entirely different situation in which I can accept and it's not as bad as I think? So that's your challenge. I'm not going to say challenge for the day, but that's your challenge. That's my challenge. That's something I think we should all do if we're going to build, if we're going to grow as individuals. We have to learn to get out of our thinking and stop trying to confirm or affirm everything we believe in, whether it helps or hurts us, and start adapting to these new concepts that may help us grow. Again, there are some absolute valid facts and beliefs that I believe, and it doesn't matter what type of discouraging remarks or people using confirmation bias might use. I know they're true because I personally experience them, and they're continual, and they're facts, with or without me. And that's why I say it can be used to discredit people, even if they're right. So we have to make sure that we're not using our confirmation bias to uphold ourselves, but using it to help us grow. And understanding that it may not be exactly what we believe or what we think, but it may be a different belief. And it's something that can help us grow as individuals. That's how you make the world a better place. Hope you guys have a great day, and God bless you.